Okay, looks like we're live, Andy. We're actually broadcasting live right now. So let's go with this. So first of all, thank you to those of you who are joining me. My name is Jim Williams. I'm the Vice President of Marketing at Influitive, an advocate marketing company. Thank you for taking some time out of your day today to join us on YouTube Live for the Content Marketing Master Series that we're doing. Series we're going to be kicking off over the next couple of weeks where we talk to experts in the field of content marketing, and I can't think of a better way to start the series than by welcoming you, Andy Crestodina. Thanks for joining us today for this conversation.
Honored to be here. This is great. So this is the flagship inaugural episode?
This is the flagship episode for this series, yeah, so it's all new, so we make mistakes, bear with us, we'll figure it out.
No, I love it.
So let me,
history.
I'll do a quick intro, and then Andy, maybe I'll ask you some questions about your background. You can fill in the edges, but for the audience here, Andy Crestodina, if you're not familiar with him, he is what we consider to be a content marketing guru. He was a major keynoter at the Content Marketing World 2016. And Cassandra, who's on my team in content marketing, came back and said her very formal mathematical poll suggests that you by far were the best keynote speaker at the event. So congratulations on that.
Thank you, Cassandra, and thanks, Jim, for having me. This is great.
No worries. Andy, you're going to tell us a little bit about your background, but this thing stands out to me. I love this quote, especially for the topic we're going to be talking about, which is user-generated content. You have this famous quote that came from Content Marketing World, which is, an ally in content creation is an ally in promotion, and couldn't agree with you more. That speaks to the whole point of advocacy. So I can't wait to dig into that. So Andy, you're a prolific content creator. You're one of the original guys talking about the kind of whole influence or involvement in the creation of content. You're the CEO of Orbit Media. Tell me, you're also the guy behind Chicago's largest content creation conference, content marketing conference, which is an author of Content Chemistry. So why don't we start off? Tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get into content marketing? How did you end up where you are today?
Well, my college degree was in Mandarin Chinese, which is super random. I don't use it at all, but not knowing what I was going to do with it, I got certified to teach and went to China, lived there, loved it, came back and got a job as an IT recruiter. Pretty boring job. I didn't get to make anything. I wanted to be creative. I wanted to combine technical and creative stuff. Started making interactive comic books with my friend from high school and roommate from college. Horrible business idea. Turned that off.
Comic books?
Yeah, interactive comic books like web comics and CD-ROM comics, like silly stuff. But what happened after that, I quit the job and joined him making websites. He'd already been doing it since like 97 and applied those same skills to client services. So combining the art and science, the creative and the technical, and loved it. So that was in 2000. Started at Orbit Media using the name that we used in the comic book thing. You're getting like the secret history here, Jim. Like, I don't know why I'm going like deep on this, but Orbit Media Studios was originally the name of the comic book company, the failed, tiny, short-lived comic book company. But I've done this ever since. So this is 16 years of doing search engine optimization, 16 years of analytics, 9 years of content marketing, blogging, social media, and strategy, content strategy. So, yep, it's just been a long time of doing similar stuff over and over for lots of people. Get to watch the industry evolve, and the full circle story there is that I'm like a teacher now, which is my favorite thing anyway. So, I love it.
Yeah, very good. So, yeah, just because the interactive comic book doesn't work doesn't mean you can't. You got to throw the name out, right? It's a good brand. Go with it.
Orbit Media, yeah, it's I don't know. It's got that future retro feel. I
like it.
In hindsight, for search, I should have called it something related to web or web design or digital, but who cares? It all worked out.
Usual. Tell me about Content Jam, that conference. How did that come about?
Well, the reason we're connected here is because of that live event. I'm a huge proponent of live events as a content strategy as part of a content program, especially for B2B. So it's high touch. You skip everything. You go straight to face-to-face. So I was always a believer in this, in the live event. So 6 years ago, I started doing a monthly event, open house here in the office, just called Wine and Web. Pour wine, teach web marketing once a month. Right. It's propelled us into more topics and finalizing or polishing more content, because you have to present, and fear of failure in front of an audience is super powerful. then basically got to know enough speakers and decided to, and had a big enough audience that turned it into a annual event. Content Jam is different than Wine and Web, but being in that circle and knowing the, Jay Akunzo and Andrew Davis and Jindy Dietrich and a lot of the, my favorite speakers, invited them to come speak. And this was the 5th year, and it's successful little event. There's around 300 people. Next year, we're going to do it in early November. There we go.
Sorry, you froze up a little bit on me.
I know, so did you. I'm like, Jim.
Oh, did I freeze up as well?
Yeah, we were stuck in time.
Well, it's a live video thing, and there was technical issues. I can't believe it.
That's the internet for you.
All right, so let's dive right into it. Why are we talking about content marketing, and why are we talking about that today? So I've been in B2B marketing for altogether too long, and I feel like we're how long would you say we're into the content marketing revolution that's kind of taken over, certainly in the B2B space? Like 5 years, 7 years, 10 years?
Yeah. Well, Joe and Robert at Content Marketing Institute would tell you that this is a very old type of marketing. That they named their podcast "This Old Marketing." The blogging thing took off in maybe 2004, 2005. I started blogging in 2007. So blogging became, the terms inbound in content marketing probably 2008, 2009. Maybe,
right.
And then the real convergence and the formation of a codified science around the overlap between social search and email with conversion optimization and analytics, probably right around that time, maybe 2010, it really starts to come together. People start writing more books about it, and the knowledge and courses and classes and kind of the body of work really for time.
Right. So now you have, kind of the. Let's say we're 10 years into the revolution here, right? And you've got everybody on board with content marketing. Like we just published some stats recently. It says, more than half of content marketing are increasing their budget. It makes up 25% of B2B marketing budgets today. Do you think at this point, 10 years in, that is that maximum effectiveness? Do you feel like people really know how to measure the effectiveness of what they're doing? Because clearly people are putting money into the content creation game.
Oh yeah. Well, the second question, do people know how to measure the effectiveness? The answer is definitely no. That is not the case. We just did our own survey. Every year I do a survey of 1,000 bloggers. And when it comes to the measurement piece, the percentage of bloggers that regularly check analytics, 56%. So 44% of bloggers do not even regularly check analytics. So are they mature organizations in the measurement business? Definitely not. It's only about half of us that are consistently tracking performance, iterating, optimizing, using data to inform the next iteration of our marketing decisions.
Is that because those tools don't exist? Is it because the measurement is too difficult? It's hard to get all that downstream all the way to the dollar? I would be like, I could think of a demand gen marketer thinking 54% of them measure analytics. I'd be crazy, right? Like, they all measure analytics.
Yeah. In certain subcategories, right, you'd have like PPC isn't content marketing, but 100% of those people measure performance, right, of every ad. Then you go way over to social media, and if you say, do you measure performance? If you just say, well, yeah, I'm counting Facebook likes, and for me that's performance, or engagement to me is blog comments, and so yes, I'm measuring performance. But when you ask the question, are you using analytics with a capital A, like the Google product, then that's a different question than the small a, the general performance or category of analytics. So no, we're definitely not there. And you asked the right question. Why not? I think it's a cultural thing. I think that we're still, there were decades of advertising and marketing history that we haven't yet finished the mindset paradigm shift where we are saying, yes, all decisions should be based on data. Yes, every action I take is really just a test. It's going to take a long time, I think, before people really embrace that in the culture of their organizations. There aren't enough people in the culture of organizations who have embraced data and analytics in ways that inform the majority of their marketing decisions. There's still just a lot of people who do stuff just based on gut,
Yep. Totally agree. I think the challenge we face, and there's actually just some more stats here that we've uncovered. So the challenge we face is that there's not that not enough people are measuring the effectiveness of the analytics, but yet a vast majority of marketers are pouring more money into it, right? So you get this idea of like more noise, and do we risk losing the revolution? Because what happens is a bunch of marketers got involved, figured out how to do something, and just like marketers always do, they completely ruin it, right? They just start creating schlock and getting it out there. And the reason I bring it up, like one of the stats that we found, it's amazing to me, is 83% of B2B buyers say they're overwhelmed by the amount of content available to them. They don't even know where to start because there's so much of it floating around out there.
Yeah, it's this is the Mark Schaefer content shot question, right? It's like, is it going to tip over? Does it make sense? Is it sustainable?
Right.
So I'm Gen X, child of the 80s. I think of it this way. When I grew up, let's say late 70s, early 80s, there were like 5 TV channels. I seriously remember this era, right? And then we move into like cable TV.
Maybe where I grew up.
Yeah, it was like, and those few that were kind of fuzzy, right? If you put the dial like in the right spot, like channel 32, I kind of get.
Yeah.
And then you move into an era where it's like cable TV, and now you've got like 500, right? And then satellite and internet websites, you have like 5 million or 500 million. Does that make it harder for the content creator to connect with an audience? I don't think that it does, actually. For the smart content creator, the smart content marketer, I'm not sure that it's more difficult today to connect with an audience than it was before. If you know how to do it properly, if you live up to the promises you make, if you are truly making something that's original and extraordinary and unique to you, and you become the primary source, or if you are a genuine thought leader, basically the world does not need another medium quality blog post on a well-trod topic. It's just a waste of time. Does it stress out someone far away, might make a buying decision that I publish some piece of crap over here? I think they're fine. I think that person's going to be okay. And I'm basically the one who's punished because I just made something that didn't get any results. But
interesting. So let's talk about that. And let's talk about the buyer factor here, right? Because there's also stats that suggest that very few buyers trust the vendor content that's being put out anyway, right? This trust, like it's almost like the inverse relationship. Amount of stuff published to the trust factor, it keeps dropping. In this, it was that 9% of buyers trust the vendor content or whatever. So how do content marketers try to reestablish that trust? Like how do they make their content? Like where you're saying is we don't need another moderately effective blogger, but that puts a big burden on B2B marketers to be excellent in their content creation or risk losing the buyer.
I think that's true, but let's define excellence as in deeply and truly empathetic. That's excellence. So suppose, let's just pick a category. So Jim, let's say you and I are in a B2B category. You want to be like, we're in like the scrap metal business, whatever, pick any category.
I like that.
Okay, we're scrap metal. We're in scrap metal.
But I'm a consumer and I buy scrap metal occasionally. So yeah, it could be B2B.
But we'll just be like, so we're looking for a service to come haul away, right? Something that, I don't know, I just demoed a building or something, and you and I are together going to make a decision about who to hire for this B2B job. We go to the internet probably, right? And what do? Maybe we search. We'll start at Google, okay? When you and I search for whatever this key phrase is, there's going to be a small gray number that says that there's 200 bazillion pages that are relevant to that topic. But that doesn't stress us out because these are just the top 10. Okay, we're going to choose one of these. We're going to look at the page. It looks like maybe it's a legit company, maybe not. Now let's try to get some evidence that they're legit. Maybe there's evidence on the page. Maybe there's social proof points or statistics or testimonials or a video of a happy customer. That makes us trust it a bit more, because it's the voice of the audience, right? It's the voice of the customer. But maybe we're not sure yet. We go back to Google and we search for a slightly different phrase. Maybe we go to social media, right? We are on LinkedIn and we see if any of our friends there are going to recommend something. Maybe we end up on a site that has a download and we look at a white paper about these different pros and cons, or just a blog post weighing pros and cons for, this hauling versus that hauling and recycling and tonnage and cost. Yeah. So we basically are going to do our research, looking at the content of brands, much of it, or getting input from our audience, our peers, or just seeing how Google sorted out these pages with these recommendations. So to make sure as a brand, now let's flip it. You and I are scrap metal haulers or something, right? And we're trying to connect with that person. How do we put our content in that? How do we inject our message into that stream? Well, we've got to be totally legit and upfront and transparent when it comes to search, and make something that does indicate relevance and is great for the topic. We have to maintain a reputation with peers that might refer us. We have to have those testimonials and those happy clients that allow us to use that message.
Yep.
So yes, there might be a lot of noise, but it's all sort of at the bottom of this ocean. The way that you and I rise above that is through best practices and quality in our relationships, on social media, in search, publishing really helpful, useful stuff. It's not about us, it's about the client. It's about answering all of their top questions. Excellent content is really a matter of understanding what they need and helping them get that, answering their top questions, and putting in support for those marketing claims through user-generated content in many cases.
Right.
That makes them feel trust when they read it.
So let's focus on that user-generated content. You can have excellent content or remarkable content and content that talks about the buyer. But I think particularly in the B2B space, seems like as marketers, the content marketers, we're behind the ball on some of the unbelievable things that are happening with user-generated content in the consumer space, right?
Mm-hmm.
You think about like GoPro, Starbucks, right? Or Apple, like every one of the ads you see outside, right? It's like shot by some customer. It's unbelievable, right? But yet in the B2B world, if you were that scrap metal company, what would you do? You would go, I'm going to go interview a customer and I'm going to create this case study that says problem, solution, results, and I'm going to brand it perfectly and put it on my website. How do you think, how do you see that evolving? How can B2B marketers get on the user-generated content bandwagon in order to, again, create more remarkable stuff, have more proof points, connect with the buyer more, and overcome that trust gap that we talked about? Have you seen good examples of that? Or
yeah, I mean, here's two steps that anyone can follow. The first thing is the things that we have to do in marketing are to increase the number of people who come to our sites. And then the second thing is to maximize the percentages of people who take action. It's to improve the conversion rate, right? It's like you have to put more water in this bucket, or you have to fix the holes in the bucket. So conversion rate, maximizing the conversion rate, is about adding social proof and testimonials, answering top questions, reducing friction, removing distraction, and simplifying creating urgency. These are ways that you can increase the percentage of people who become a lead on your website. And those testimonials are a great way to do that, especially a video testimonial. You have to put something on your pages that support the marketing claims that you're making. The best support for that is words that are chosen by the audience themselves, testimonial content. The messenger shouldn't be you. Everything you do is marketing automatically. We need to get them into our content, and that's going to make a huge difference, maximizing the conversion rate. So that's something that we can all work toward and make sure that there are no unsupported claims on our website. Go look at your website, look at every marketing claim you make, and ask yourself if you supported all those marketing claims with evidence. But the second thing, actually, we've already given examples. The second thing that you can do in user-generated content is, and Jim, you started with this, you can use your audience to produce a piece of original research that makes your message stronger. You were just citing a study that you did, or that others have done, similar studies, right? Lots of these things that actually make your value proposition stronger by amplifying the difference between life today and what life is, going to be with this product. That's an example of, research in many forms can be a type of user-generated content, which is super powerful. It's totally unique. You're the primary source. It's original research. You get huge search and social benefits from it. But yeah, we've done it already on this conversation. And you and I are both B2B.
Yep, exactly. So, and you, of course, get that dual benefit of, if you create content with your customers, the customers are very likely to share said content. We see a lot of this too, quite frankly, working with our customers. This is the kind of thing that we do. Like a lot of times, the point of an advocacy program or an advocate community is actually to get that feedback, the primary research, the ideation around the content, and then get them participating in the creation of the content so that you can then get the benefits of distribution of the content. So we see quite a bit of that, and we have a lot of examples ourselves, but that's us working with our customers, not many marketers have as direct a connection to the customers as they'd like to have. In fact, and just my observations is very few marketing teams are actually as well connected to the customer. Like they don't have that direct line of
I know.
connection.
Yeah.
So that creates this barrier in itself. I got to create remarkable content. Good way to do that is user-generated content. I don't have access to the user.
Yeah. It's
Go through some other.
right. It's silos is a word you hear in this problem a lot.
Yeah.
The sales team, it is so worth the effort to break down the barrier between the sales team and the marketing teams, because two things happen. One is the sales team can share with the marketing team what the top questions are. The marketing team is going to wake up and say, oh, what should we publish today? And they're going to make something up that they find interesting. But meanwhile, the sales team knows what the most common questions are and what the important things are for them to answer for their clients. Right? This is FAQ content. This is what Marcus Sheridan taught us. They ask, you answer. The brand that answers the most questions in the most helpful way will win. So when the sales team is a source of topics for the marketing team, then you end up with a piece of content that is obviously a match for your target. The next time they break down the barrier is after that piece of content is created, user-generated or brand-generated content, it can be given back to the sales team to use in the sales process. If you get a question, you answer it. Someone asks a question again, you answer it. You've sent the same email 3 or 4 times. Maybe you get very efficient with your time and you've got a draft email that answers that question. What a waste. You need to publish that answer. Put that answer on your website. And next time someone asks you, send them a link. Now you've got a website visitor and a chance for other good things to happen. Where there's traffic, there's hope. So it's zero waste marketing to produce content that supports the sales process. Write stuff for people in the funnel. That's what you can do, right? There's no, that it connected, even if it had 0 visitors on the page, right? It was printed out and handed to someone who was a potential customer, right? We do scrap metal. They're a partner, whatever. That's the it's one of the most important conversations that teams can have. Is just, what are people talking to you about?
Right. So can you give me, obviously you work with a lot of companies on this. Give me some examples of, some business you think in the B2B space that do a good job of getting their customers to participate in the content creation.
Boy, I wish there was an easier question to answer. My favorite right now, I'm on this research kick. My favorite right now is people that are including other people in their research. So let's say, like I just read an article by someone, like minutes before we got on this call. I just read an article by someone who was watching a trend, blockchain technology. This will be a big thing. And this was a CEO of a marketing agency who read a book by some New York Times bestseller about blockchain technology, called him up and interviewed him. Now he's got a thought leader in his content, right? So he's publishing this article about blockchain, and it's tight collaboration with this other person. So the halo effect immediately makes the guy who did the interview look quite credible, right? It adds, like, now I'm thinking of him when I think of blockchain. He just basically engineered a little bit of demand and credibility in my mind by making that step to reach out to an influencer, a partner, collaborate on a piece of content. If you're not collaborating in your content, I think you're missing huge opportunities.
Sorry, I'm clicking back and forth on our little face thing here so we can switch back. It's not doing it automatically, Andy. It's manually being done. So tell me a little bit more about some tactics that you see evolving in the content creation process, especially in B2B. We've talked a little bit about ideation through customers. You talked about collaboration through influencers. You talked about going to the sales team. What are the questions that you keep getting over and over again? It's creation of content. What other types of things do you think are coming or are on the rise in terms of content marketing?
Well, there are tools that you can use to learn what the demand is and create content that aligns specifically with what the internet is asking for. Keyword research is evolving right now, and I'm an SEO from a long time ago, so I pay attention to search, and I love my keywords, and I target phrases, and I create content aligned with demand, with search volume, with things people search for. So there's a couple of different tools that you can use to actually just figure out exactly what people care about in your industry. One One of those tools is called Answer the Public, which will tell you every question that people ask related to any topic. So if I go to Answer the Public, I'm there now. I'm just going to put in scrap metal. This is hilarious because you and I just made this up, right? No one here is doing scrap metal, but we just randomly chose that industry. So within seconds, here we go. Report is being created. There are 120 questions people ask related to scrap metal. Where to find scrap metal? Where does scrap metal come from? Scrap metal for money, scrap metal in different cities. What scrap metal is valuable? Is there scrap metal in pianos? What scrap metal is in washing machines, microwaves, scrap metal prices, right? These are tons of different, there's just like more than 100 of these. And that's a way to use the internet to tell you what your audience cares about. Another way is just Google Suggest. If you just type in a phrase to Google Suggest, like which scrap metal is worth the most? Can I sell? Prices. So these are all related phrases, right? It's suggesting those things because someone cares about that. But it's long and slow and boring to type in 26 letters of the alphabet. So I'm going to go to a tool called keywordtool.io. Keywordtool.io will show me all the phrases that Google suggests as if I typed in the next letter of the alphabet. Which scrap metal? There are 254 different key phrases that Google will suggest for if you start searching for which scrap metal.
Right.
This is it. Gold mine. Bingo. I don't have to know anything about the industry to be a great content marketer in that industry, as weird as that sounds.
Start with the questions.
Start with the questions. So the next step, now let's connect to the contributors. Next step, I'm going to use followerwonk.com. Let's take scrap metal comparisons. Which scrap metals? These are my topics, right? I'm going to write an article about which scrap metals. So now I'm going to go to followerwonk.com and I'm going to put scrap metal, and this is a tool just to search Twitter bios, but you could go to LinkedIn and search anywhere, right? I'm going to put in scrap metal. It's going to show me a list of people who are relevant to that topic, right? The contributors, collaborators. 1,338 people sorted by their social followings. Okay, I just found presumably experts on the topic, and I found the topics that are most relevant to this audience. I just showed you how to create content, even if you have no ideas and no time. Right. I email that question to those people. They respond, put it together. It's if you know how to do it, there's insanely effective ways to make content that's actually extremely empathetic, and that includes collaborators. As we say, an ally in creation is an ally in promotion. Each of those collaborators will help me promote the article. That was a round trip of like, I don't know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes maybe.
I know everything right now about how to get started with scrap metal.
I know.
There's an opportunity there.
We could be thought leaders on this topic within a month. I think we could. We could dominate.
So just to go full round trip on it. Okay, so now I know the questions people are asking, and I know who the thought leaders are. Say the influencers in scrap metal. How do I find social proof? Like that, to me, that's the other piece, right? Like, how do I find people like you and me that have a scrap metal problem that actually found a solution in what they learned all the way? I may not I may not be influential, but my voice is authentic. I'm just trying to tell my story of how I solved my scrap metal problem. How do you do that?
So this is the hardest thing to explain, but I'll try to keep it simple. This is how I do it. If we make a small body of work on this topic, answering all the top questions, and we build this mini version of Wikipedia for the industry, and we collaborate with content creators, not just people who think about scrap metal, but people who make content, bloggers, journalists, magazine trade editors, whoever, and they link to these amazing articles that we wrote on the topic. Those links to our site increase our domain authority in Google, right? The chance that we'll rank in general. But that domain authority doesn't just help our resources rank, it helps everything on our site rank. So all of that content can lead to links. Those links lead to authority, and that authority increases the chance that our money pages, our lead generating pages, our service pages, our online brochure, there's two kinds of key phrases on the internet. There's question marks and dollar signs.
Right.
We just made content that answered questions. those people are not even in our market, right? We're in a city. Those people are searching for scrap metal, which scrap metal, refrigerator, microwave, anywhere in the world. But if some people link to those articles, that makes every page on our website more likely to rank, which will help us rank for the money phrase, Toronto scrap metal hauling. Now I have, I have cheese and I have a mousetrap. That visitor who comes to that page, we know what they're thinking, right? They have intent. They searched. Their fingers are on a keyboard. They're looking for something. So if that page includes social proof, evidence, testimonials, case studies, examples, statistics, videos of happy people, reviews, that's the page where where the conversion optimization comes in, and social proof is key for building that conversion optimization. Now we have a chance to convert that visitor into a lead. They call or they fill out a form. Now we just, without spending money, generated a lead for a business prospect. We're going to haul some scrap metal.
Yeah, exactly. You solve the scrap metal problem. And again, I think the important thing is you think about how we started off this conversation, right? I am solving real problems for people that have real questions. I know the type of questions that are on their mind. I've gone to experts. I've gotten proof about my particular solution on my conversion page, etc. That seems remarkably different from, content marketing is big, so I'm just going to create an ebook and an infographic and start blasting all stuff about my brand and top 10 reasons why and everything else, right? So this is kind of, you see this is the direction that content marketing is going. In order to kind of regain its footing, if you will, and not overwhelm buyers, it's about understanding what's in their mind. Now, be able to read their mind, and there's tools for doing that.
Yep. And I connected every dot, right? I was using online research to find the topics. I was using social media to connect with collaborators. I was building relationships and building and attracting links and increasing my authority through search engine optimization to attract the targeted visitor on the sales page, using conversion optimization and proof and evidence and media types like video to convert that visitor, and using analytics to measure that traffic and that conversion rate. So it really benefits marketers that understand how content works together with search, social, and analytics. I'm not using social media to dump links on Facebook. I'm using it as a research tool to find people who can help me be useful, useful online site. So it's very few people in this industry really know how to connect all those dots. Yeah. And they read something on HubSpot that said do a bunch of stuff, but they don't really understand all the causes and effects that lead to, that go from this action in marketing to this, cashing a check in the bank.
And you're going to show them the way. I
try. A lot of us are just giving away, explaining to anyone who will listen, and some people listen, and some people just keep, posting on Instagram and hoping something good happens.
Keep cranking stuff out. Keep cranking out blogs about your
keep hitting publish every day, publish more. Sad.
Yes, see a lot of that. Andy, this has been a great conversation. I don't want to keep you too long. I've learned a lot about the content creation process and how it's evolving, and we got to dive into, again, some of that user-generated content challenge, especially among B2B marketers. So I appreciate that.
Sure.
What's coming up for you? What do you have to plug before we depart here?
I got it yesterday. I got a box. There's a pile back there. The 4th edition is out. Content Chemistry. Everything I know about content marketing in 160 pages. Beautiful. You can find it anywhere. Just search for the book. It's finally. I took forever to get it printed. I'm so out of my league on paper, like the printing process, like all of the edit. Like it's just. I'm out of my comfort zone on that. But
did you look at all the questions you could possibly ask about publishing using those same tools?
No, I should have. I did not. I didn't follow my best practices. Mostly though, it's republished stuff from my best and refined versions of other things that I've done in other places. But I'd like to just say thanks to you. And aren't we doing it now? Right here we are collaborating on content.
Exactly. Yeah. This is exactly why we're doing it. Right. Conversation with an expert. And you are indeed an expert. Congratulations on publishing your book. So again, if you didn't get it, check out Content Chemistry. Saw it live. You can find it on the web pretty easily. Andy Crestodina, thank you again for all your time. And I am supposed to plug the next in the series that we're going to be doing here, which will be on November 30th. This is the second interview we'll do with the content marketing masters, if you will, and that's going to be with Jay Acunzo, November 30th. And that pretty much is it. Andy, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon in Chicago, and good luck with the book.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Cassandra. Thanks, Influitive. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.